Hey, what's up, my man? How you feeling this morning?
Pretty good. How are you?
Hey, man, I'm doing good, man. Today is gonna be a pretty good day for everybody. So we're gonna get right into it. Today we're going to be diving into Amanda Seals' appearance on Jubilee, where she took on those 20 black conservatives, and you and I both saw it, and there was a ton of misinformation that got tossed around, and I love the way she handled it. I mean, she shut them down, really. Overall, she shut them down in so many ways with facts, history, and just sometimes the basic truth, with which some of them didn't even want to listen to. So, what I want to do today, I want to touch on some of the examples and show how she corrected the lies.
To be quite honest, you're not talking to a Democrat. You're talking to a radical.
Okay, but
let's land this plane very quickly.
Who do we vote for?
Let's land this plane quickly.
Who do
You're
we vote
talking
for?
to a radical, not a Democrat.
Okay,
and
you
so,
are your own person.
Let me
but
tell
who
you
do we
something
vote
now.
for?
I don't know what they told you, but if they told you that cutting me off is how we're going to get clicks, stop it now.
Oh, no.
That's not how we're going to. That's not how we're going to enter.
We having a debate.
A debate does not require continuously cutting somebody off.
Okay, no problem.
And also we're going to look at how these black conservatives cling to those narratives. And usually they cling to these narratives that are false and everything. And it seems like it's against, I don't know, they have this lack of self-love and they don't want to admit the historical truth. So, I mean, those are my initial thoughts, man. What are you thinking about, my man?
Well, I mean, I did see the video of the Jubilee meeting with the conservatives, and I pretty much agree with everything you said. I was not really familiar. I knew who Amanda Seals. I know who she is as far as being an entertainer. Was not familiar with the activism side or her study. You know that she has a master's from Columbia. And so I was very impressed by, like you said, the way she handled some of those questions, the way she handled that situation. I thought she was very poised. It was disturbing.
Very much so.
It was disturbing.
It was very disturbing, man.
It was disturbing, and I'll get to it. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I was disturbed by the age of these people. These were young. All these people, to my eye, I'd like to hear what you think.
Yeah, it's like they were between like 20 to like 34, 36. Right. That's what it seemed like.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So while I'm familiar with some older black conservatives who came around during the Reagan era and actually did participate in an economy that was a little bit more welcoming at that time to non-white people, non-white males who are who aren't just white males. I'll put it that way. There was a little bit more opportunity, I think, to be an entrepreneur in a particular way back then. I was really shocked that these people who theoretically have more access to more information than we did in the 80s seemed to be very misinformed. And so that was kind of bothersome.
It was scary. And when you talk about being misinformed and we talk about this self-hate, I'm going to get to the first example, because this first example, the brother that came up there and Amanda pointed out the necklace that he had on in reference to Israel, supporting Israel. But this guy was just trying to attack her with just false statement after false statement. And then this brother tried to use Harriet Tubman to argue that systemic racism isn't real.
I refuse to embrace a victim mentality, because that's not what our grandparents and Harriet Tubman and those people fought for. They fought for equal opportunity.
Do not bring up Harriet Tubman's name in vain, baby. Please.
They said the Lord's name in vain. The Lord's name.
Harriet Tubman was literally saving her family and others from slavery.
That system is a part of what's going on today, and it's still in effect. And that brother didn't get it.
What really bothered me so much there is that there doesn't seem to be any critical thinking. I mean, now
Yes.
I know that there's a lot of history.
Yeah.
If you want to be just a student of history, which I don't mean that sounds condescending. If you're a student of history, which I like to believe I am, you know that those facts don't add up. But let's just take it at its face value. I don't even see how you could even think that. It's called the Underground Railroad for a reason. Okay.
Right.
Yes, there were white people who participated in the Underground Railroad. Most movements that happen in an oppressive system, whether you're talking about Schindler's List, when Schindler helped some Jews get out of those camps, you got to usually get some help from inside because the odds are so stacked against you. But the fact that they had to do it underground in the dark of night and risk their lives, it doesn't take a genius to realize that there's a system set up here
exactly.
to oppress black people.
Stop.
Let's talk about that.
Stop.
Let's talk about that.
None of this is gonna work if y'all are just gonna sit here and make up shit.
It's
not gonna work. No, a debate has to be in facts.
You're
You
putting
are
off
literally
emotional liberalism
I am
right
not
now.
putting off emotional liberalism. You're putting off unfounded lies.
That brother just didn't want to admit it. Yeah. And you got these guys, they just straight up deny the history. You know what I mean? And they start, that brother's basically aligning with the system. He's making an excuse saying this is where it should be and everything's fine. And he's sounding like, those MAGA hats, you're always talking about racism. Everything's fine now. We don't have that anymore. And when black conservatives, when they do this and they end up aligning with the system, Byron Donalds, Tim Scott, all these cats, it just hurts us. It just keeps setting us back. And these are the brothers that don't get and understand that at all.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you. I was really shocked. Like when she said to those people, are you guys acting?
I hope some of y'all are acting. I really do. We in LA, and I hope some people in here are acting.
Yeah.
Because
she was right. Yeah.
I was like, you can't be serious here. You can't be serious. But, and there was something that came out in conversation with several of them. I don't know if it was a majority or not, but it wasn't and we'll talk about this later. I just don't think it was a coincidence that many of them are first and second generation immigrants.
As the daughter of an immigrant, it is imperative that black people from other places understand the disparate difference that they exist from black people in the United States. It is not the same. Period. And ultimately, the best effort that we can do as a diaspora is to lead in understanding, not in judgment. So when I am talking to somebody from Sudan, from the Congo, from Angola, I am listening to understand their experience, not to undermine it. And I refuse to allow anybody from Grenada, from Angola, from any other place to come and try to undermine the experience of Black Americans.
And that has a big part to do with their mindset.
Yeah.
And she had to set that kid right that his family was from Angola, but he grew up in Maine. And was just basically saying, look, your situation ain't the same as ours. And they don't want to acknowledge that. They just want to take in fact that they're black.
Right.
But one of the things that she also pointed out is that all of these people want to be in the system, and so they're quick to down black folks. Like everything we talked about Project 2025, Spanish didn't want to listen, Asians didn't want to listen, a lot of people didn't want to listen to us, Indians didn't want to listen, but we see everything happen with ICE and everything kicking in, and now they got this totally different attitude. Now they want the brothers siding with them. Now they want the brothers on there, being in the fight with them, because a part of that system, they used to be accepting of them, that used to say, hey, look, you're not like the black folks over there. You come from a different stock. You're different. So that right there is now being shown that, hey, look, no, you are just like us.
Comparing Chinese people who are immigrants that made a choice to come to the United States and comparing the continued effort of Black people to ground themselves in a nation that continues to make impediments for them to show and live and exist in their true citizenship is a false equivalency.
These brothers, I really want to try to get across to them because we need them on our side. But when you got brothers now from Nigeria and Ghana, and I hear them saying the N-word and all that, I'm like, yo, you know, I mean, hey, look, we got brothers from Ethiopia in this area, Ghana, Angola, Nigeria. And many of them sometimes seem to have an issue with us. But it's the fact that they look at us like we don't try harder.
Well,
you know what I mean? It's
well,
like we make excuses, you know? Yeah.
Well, my thing, see, I call myself, I don't use African American. I call myself black, and I have no bad feelings for the motherland. I mean, it's just, you know, I know nothing. I mean, I know of Africa from what I've read.
Right.
I know nothing of the culture or the language of Africa. And why is that? Not because I don't want to know. I guess you could say you could learn now. Yeah. But I don't know because it was, let's use the S word, it was systematically stripped from my family. So when so what I would say to somebody who said that to me, who was like, "Oh, you're not an African American, you're a Black American," I would say, "Yes, I am. I am a Black American." But you have to, you have to understand what you're saying. Let's define our terms, because yes, you are an American who used to live in Africa. Now I guess you become a citizen, so now you're an African American. I get that. All of that stuff that you brought over, if I'm speaking to that person, brought over here with you, I don't have in me because it was ripped out of me by these people that you decide that you want to like cape up for. You know, all I heard from those people in that circle, the running theme seemed to be protecting white folks, protecting a story, and a tale and a narrative that has been perpetuated by people who are in denial about the things that they've done in order to be in this situation.
It's like we the no good, lazy, unappreciating Black folk not thanking Master for, you know, providing us with this home and all that, because everything was like, you're not being appreciated, thinking you have everything handed to you. You know, you think everything's got to be given to you. I'm sitting here saying, yo, fellas, brothers, this is lie after lie after lie. And the way you guys are repeating it.
So essentially, when we were living in our own communities, we were also policing our own communities. So we were not being used as statistics in the same way to determine how resources were provided to our own communities. When we were going to the government saying, hey, we deserve because we are supposed to be separate but equal, we weren't saying, hey, we want to be with y'all. We were essentially saying, we want what you are stating we deserve. And that is what all of the efforts of the civil rights movement has been. It's literally just been to say, you said when we got out of the Civil War that we would be considered citizens, and all citizens should be getting equal access to these things. However, you are actively allowing the Klan to harm us. You are actively allowing...
Who's killed more Black people, the Klan or us?
I would like to continue my statement. I let you speak uninterrupted.
You did.
When we talk about this concept of who is harming us, we are really making a false claim when it comes to Black on Black crime, as if there isn't white on white crime. There's also this unnecessary effort to try and pathologize Black on Black crime in a way that you don't try to pathologize white on white crime. There are white people killing each other every single day.
We're never going to be able to get anywhere with those type of people. And then they just kind of like went to the next one. The whole thing about us not being appreciative, us not doing what we need to do at home. They always try to seem like our morals are bad. And they kept coming back to this thing about Black on Black crime.
It's more likely that my own brother will rob and rape me than a white man or a white officer. We got to be real.
What's your proximity to white men in the south side of Chicago? Are there even white men around to rob and rape you at the same rate that there are Black men?
There are white men around.
At the same rate?
There wasn't a lot of Black people in there, but then that doesn't justify the fact that we're destroying each other.
The response that I have for you is that everything you're saying does not exist in a vacuum. I actually agree with you in that, yes, there has been an incredible denigration of Black worth and Black pride in this nation. I think it's also very important to acknowledge what has contributed to that. And to state that it is only Black people that have contributed to that is a false flag. So we have to admit that. So in order to have this conversation around how we got here, you can't say, oh, well, we're caring about the white woman getting braids and that doesn't matter and this thing. All of that attaches. All of that is actually a very big part of the lack of worth of Black people.
I'll ask you, do you think we're resilient?
They are just repeating those same talking points that you hear from the GOP.
Yeah, well, and I don't know what to say to I mean, I know what I would say to them, but I don't know how to get through to those people because I don't think she got through to them, to tell you the truth. I think she explained
You don't think she
well.
did? You don't think she got through to some of them? It seemed like
Yeah, there were a couple of younger guys there who didn't really, they weren't as well versed as she was. This is how I took it. I hope you're right. Okay.
Yeah.
This is what I saw came out of it.
I don't say they changed. I said they might have started listening to some of her points at the end. That's what I thought.
No, she was making some very good points. I think they didn't know enough to counter the points. Right. Even if they counted it with BS, they didn't know enough about what they were talking about to even counter them. So they kind of just said, well, that's a good point or whatever. And they went on about their business. But the next day, I think they're still walking around calling themselves a Black conservative and they still doing everything else. I don't think she changed any of their perspectives. That's my point, that's the thing that is bothersome and disturbing to me. I think it's a lot easier, and this is kind of like the situation we live in. It's a lot easier for them to dismiss her as a misguided Black radical.
I'm 32.
I am 44.
Oh, really? Oh, you look young.
Thank you. That's what water and keeping stress out of your life will do.
Really? Liberal positions are real stressful.
By the way, I wouldn't know. I'm not a liberal. Carry on.
Yeah, they want to keep calling her a liberal. They kept she's like, I'm not that.
She's not that. So, and I appreciated her defining her terms and making sure that they use the correct terminology when referring to her. I did appreciate that a lot. But I think that afterward, this happens in a lot of political discourse, so I'm not just condemning these 20 people. Unfortunately, a lot of us are very comfortable where we are. We're not, we're as a society, it's kind of, we're sort of at a point right now where people are defending their position rather than learning. And so that's why I say I don't think that she really made any headway with these people.
Good point.
Hopefully there's some people who watch that video who aren't as dug in as those 20 folks and who will who learn something. I'm not saying that because I'll be, like I said, I didn't know much about Amanda Seales, and I'm not ready to say Amanda Seales, I agree with her on everything because I don't know. But I will say that the points that she made were sound.
Right.
Even if to me, even if, I'm trying to think if there's something I didn't agree with, and I can't think of anything right now. But there, odds are there may be one point or two in there that I might push back on a little bit or redefine for my terms. But I think I don't know. I think she's going to be easily dismissed by those folks because that's how how they do us. The point that she first made, if memory serves, is that there's a moral case for reparations that should be put on the table. As a matter of fact, while I am one who, is for more than a moral victory as far as reparations, I need more than an I'm sorry. However, we've never even gotten our I'm sorry, or an acknowledgement of the actual crime that was committed on multiple generations of people, and we're still feeling the effects. Those aren't the things. So to answer your question, I am for reparations. I thought she made a good case for it. One of the things that I really have a hard time with some white folks understanding, or folks in general, apparently these 20 Negroes need to understand it as well, is that the reason we live in the most powerful nation in the world is because we have 400 years of free labor. Period.
Yes. Yeah.
Period.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, we
pay is
were
old.
freaking 13 colonies of rebels who came over here. And, oh, by the way, the slave trade came over here. It came to the New World, too. And those people in those 13 colonies became so wealthy so quickly that they were like, fuck the king.
Yeah.
I mean, they need to understand that's what happened. The only way we could say, forget King James, and now granted, I know the history. We had to go to the Dutch to get financing for the Revolutionary War and all of that. We didn't have enough money to do it all ourselves. I get that. But for them to have, they like to talk about it as if this was like something we just wanted to be free. We were tired of being under the thumb of the king. No, we wanted our freedom so that we could really ball out of control. That's what they wanted to do. And King James, why would he want to fight for that? Because he was getting broken off serious money from the colonies because we had that slave labor. And so they were like, no, forget King James. We can forget them.
We don't need you.
We don't need you. And so until that, so if we get people just to understand that, maybe the concept of reparations will make more sense. I don't know. But I really get upset when I see black folks, especially those who are benefiting off the civil rights movement, but that are not descended from slaves here.
Right.
When I hear it come out of their mouths that reparations are are not even justified, I just pisses me off.
One of the things that she also broke down, and she let the guy come up at the end, and he was basically talking about that, the Democratic Party just uses us as a pawn. And then she said, okay, I agree with you. She said the GOP does that as well. But she also pointed out the things that the Democratic Party did, from the Civil Rights Act to the Voting Act today, things that they're pushing for, voting rights, protections, police reform, economic equity, which is being taken away with all this destruction of DEI programs, which she had to set that little young girl straight that, I don't know what it is, but they keep wanting to say that DEI means lowering the standards, which is not the case.
Wouldn't you agree that, in order to get a job, in order to qualify for a certain position and an education system at a job, wouldn't you argue that it should be based off of qualifications and not your race or identity?
I've never argued that. I've never argued that to not be the case.
I know that you were saying that you would argue that it should be equal, right? So you're saying that there should be Black Americans in education systems, in jobs, but wouldn't you argue that they should be qualified for those positions and not just placed there because of their skin color?
I've never disapproved that.
Okay, so let's say...
That's not what DEI is.
Okay.
Do you know that?
Well, I'm not talking about DEI right now. Well,
because you're suggesting that I suggested that somebody should get a job just because they're Black. And I've never asserted anything like that.
I understand that you may not say that exactly, but a lot of the claims are...
They try to say, she kept trying to lead Amanda to say, do you think that somebody should get their job based on race instead of their merit? And they always try to use that race part to say that's what DEI is about. But no, DEI is about making sure that everybody is judged on their merit, that there's an equal opportunity for somebody who is just as good as that person in the hiring pool as they are. So when you keep brothers from not getting the opportunity to be in that mix, then they're not being judged on their merit. They're only being judged on their race. And those people that keep saying that just don't get it.
Yeah, the whole DEI thing is one of the, I'm not shocked, but I didn't expect something so overtly racist to get traction in my lifetime. Because I really don't believe I really don't believe. I'm going from the position of the majority now, not these 20 dumb people who are around. They're sitting around her. They know that DEI is just a cover for racist policies. I don't believe that they have a misunderstanding of what about DEI and all of that.
You don't think these brothers have a misunderstanding?
No, I'm not talking about the brothers.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I'm not talking about these black folks, especially the ones who are around the circle. Like I said, they're dumb. I mean, these are people, these are just dumb people. Because especially when I sit there and I say, well, these people are not. They should be merit based.
Yeah.
I know of nothing. Given an opportunity, you still have to progress through merit. And if you allow DEI, just as you just said, I'm just saying that what you just said, if you allow people to say DEI is responsible, a DEI policy is responsible for the progression of a person within an organizational structure, you're already saying that person's not qualified.
Exactly. Yeah.
And we all know who have experience that, look, there's nepotism and there's favoritism because people like a particular individual. Yeah, we all seen that before. There have been promotions because some people have gotten promotions that didn't deserve it. But you can best believe 9.9 times out of 10, the black person got that promotion because they're qualified. Yeah. They could not have gotten that promotion being underqualified. Now, has an underqualified person been promoted before? Yes. But that happens. I mean, that's what the Peter principle is. People are going to get promoted to their point of incompetency. That's not, DEI is not responsible for that. DEI is responsible for the opportunity, as she was trying to say, to increase the amount of the number of opportunities. And that really bugs me when I hear it coming from black folks, and it really pisses me off coming from black folks who haven't been here but a good 20 or 30 years. That, since the civil rights movement, that really bugs me, because the only reason you think it's so easy to be here is because dogs had to chase us down and we had to go through all that kind of BS so that you could come over here and prosper. And now you're thinking like the rest of you all just don't know what's going on.
There's this one line in Sugar Hill with Wesley Snipes, and they're talking to these brothers from Africa. And the brother, he keeps saying this word. He keeps saying in Wesley, he's like, this akata. What does akata means? And the dude said, akata, Black American, cotton picker. And then he threw homeboy over the thing. But anyway, so we're going to get ready to wrap this chat up. But when we looked at those examples, Harriet Tubman, the immigration, black on black crime, talking about reparations, I will say that the sister did what she was supposed to. Like you said, the discussion, the debate, she made sure they stay on debate. She made sure people didn't cut her off. But the biggest thing that I like is that her talking points are things that you can go back and look up and verify. The things that they said or the way they tried to change the topic just reinforce my opinion that you got some brothers out there who should never be called the N-word, and you got brothers like that who are the N-word. That's my opinion on that. So, and also, in my opinion, the bigger lesson of all this is basically when we deny our history, we're aligning ourselves with the system that is designed to break us. And everything those cats were saying, the way it came out of their mouth, I mean, that was just like it in full bloom. What are your final thoughts?
Well, my final thoughts. So the thing that I wanted to talk about that really has always been a pet peeve of mine are these folks who want to say, and a couple brothers tried to. The brother who I thought had some common sense, the one with the facial hair and the dashiki.
Talking about Mr. Wars. Mr. Willoughby.
Yeah. I was like, this guy sounds like he's got a decent head on his shoulders until he went to the Democrats are the party of slavery and all of that.
They always do that shit.
Which is true. But look at the whole story.
Yeah, because she talked about, hey, look, it flipped. And she was trying to break that down.
Look.
She was trying to, and They don't want to. They don't want to talk about. They only want to talk about the beginning and use that for not listening to them now.
What I wish he had said, and what I say to people now, look, it's strong in my lifetime. Some of the most racist senators in the Senate were, because they're dead now, Strom Thurmond, Jesse Helms, and Byrd from West Virginia. Okay, now Byrd stayed a Democrat, and, until he retired, then died. But on his deathbed, admitted to being a Klansman. Okay, that's number one. Jesse Helms and Strom Thurmond were Democrats. They changed over to the Republican Party. Why?
Yes.
Because two reasons. Number one, they started talking about it when Harry Truman integrated the military. Okay, that was a bridge too far for them. They have to serve with those N-words. But then the second, what did it for them was the Civil Rights Act. And when the Civil Rights Act was signed by LBJ, they all went over to the Republican Party. Now, if that isn't like, if that doesn't signal to anybody who, like I said, critical thinking, that these racists who were died in the old racists identified with that party, it should tell you that, yes, it flipped. The Republican Party is now that old Democratic Party, which they used to call the Dixiecrat Party. And
exactly.
And so that really just like, I was really disappointed to see them saying, I'm like, golly, they got you with that one. They got you with that one. You seemed like you were smart.
But they always get them with that one. But going back to Jesse Helms, and I'm ashamed because I can't remember his name right now, but I'm ashamed because what really did it for Jesse was when he was trying to keep his seat, Senate. And he had my man Harvey. I can't remember my man's name, but the brother took him to the limit, almost beat him. And that was a clear sign as to, okay, I need to switch over parties, because you started seeing all the black people at the civil rights keeping that momentum going, starting to be, okay, right on this side, most of these Dems are looking at policies that are going to help me and protect me. Jesse wasn't about that. Jesse Helms was a huge racist. Like I said, I'm from North Carolina. I grew up with him, and Harvey Gantt. So we was running against him, and that was big time. But that's when Jesse left. So when these brothers keep talking about, the Democratic Party, I said, those guys are now Republicans. All right, let's just be real. You Mickey Flickies don't want to admit that, but they're now Republicans. And you're right. You'd think that these guys would have enough sense, and you would think that Mr. Wars, would have enough sense, but he had a mindset that he only had tunnel vision when it came to that perspective. Did just one way of looking at it, and that was it. So, but like I said, all those brothers are hurting the cause until we can really start getting through to some of them, or some of them just use some fucking common sense, or like you said, some critical thinking skills, then maybe we can get on to the next thing. But anyway, that's our chat for the day. That's my man Howard. I'm Couch, and we're out.
Peace.
Peace.